Alright, so I guess we should begin, then. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to take it easy, just do some introductions, establish some of the backgrounds to the characters and to the storyline in regards to how we're going to play and what we're going to play. So, basically, what has happened to this world is that, as mentioned before, there was a unified state known as Carolina, which had its capital, obviously named Carolina as well, that had joined together the 5 nations that are, as you see on the map now, split up. They had all been unified at one time with a larger amount of space to the south and north. They had taken over, I would say, almost half of Braun up until the middle of the mountains scope, as well as about a quarter of the way down into the, I believe it's Parma region, I believe is what I called that. Yeah, Parma region. They were very expansive and also very successful. The Carolina Empire, or Unification as they prefer to be known as, was very, very powerful, but they also relied heavily on a localization, I wouldn't say small business approach, but a small person approach. They believed that allowing individuals to rise through ranks and establish large corporations, or businesses in this case, since we're not really in a corporation type approach to this game anyways, but allowing people to rise up in the ranks to establish dominance and higher and higher vocalization in the country was required, so a lot of people all over the country were able to get really good positions and have a good say in what happened. Now, like most places that have a high-ranking unification, there were some struggles. Most of the diplomats from the regions, as they were known, really were kind of at a standstill in regards to each other. They don't like each other, basically, was the root of it all. That you have, of course, 5 or 6 different regions all working together, something bad is bound to happen, and unfortunately it did. Carolina was eventually subdued not by an opposing force coming in, but by her own people, who basically had enough with the way that one of the factions was running the government, or the established politics of the area, and promptly declared that they wanted to, basically overthrow the entire thing.
Viva la revolution!
Pretty much. A political marriage was arranged to try to settle all the disputes and to help ease this tenuous situation, because even the diplomats realized that they were not going to be able to control the populace unless something occurred that would bind them all together. However, on the night of the marriage, both the bride and the groom were murdered, or assassinated, by, of course, 2 different factions who didn't like the way the marriage was going. They never found out who did it, and there are a lot of rumors stating that it was all just a big hoax to try to get everyone to go to war anyways, because no one really cared about the marriage in the first place. However, there are some people who stated that the marriage was actually going to work, and it was actually something that everybody agreed upon, and it was going to be quite possibly the beginning of the ultimate unification, which was everybody underneath of one house. Underneath of one royal house. It would have provided them an empirical attempt at controlling the entire thing. So there were some people who liked it, and there were some people who didn't like it, and it's up to you to make a decision on whether or not you like it or not, because technically there's no right and wrong in this world. Not in the way that, other places will have it, where it's like, alright, here is your clean-cut bad guy, here's your clean-cut good guy. No. This world is completely up to your decision, up to your moral code. If your character likes the Empire, you can like the Empire. Okay?
Light it on fire.
You can light it on fire if you'd like to. If your Wingle race does not approve of the way this world is going, you can try to destroy it all. I have no sympathy for you, because I'm going to go against you full-heartedly. But I am not going to come out and be like, alright, here's the ultimate bad guy, here's the ultimate good guy. You have to pick a side. Ultimate good or ultimate, evil. Your choice. No. It's more like, here's a gigantic gray world where everyone's going to have differentiating opinions. You have to actually sort through what is the best option. And not just the right option, the best option. Because sometimes the right option's not going to be the good option. Because there's going to be some moments where you're going to be stuck with like the better of two evils, or even the better of an evil that's going to be for the better good of everybody else, or a good that's going to be for the better evil of everybody else. If that makes sense. There's going to be a lot of points and moments where you're going to make decisions based upon, okay, well, if I tell the truth here, it's going to hurt everybody. But if I lie, it'll hurt nobody but myself. What to do?
I can't wait to screw up with you.
Oh yeah, there'll be plenty of opportunities to destroy countrysides, unleash monsters, possibly giants from their sleeping fortresses to ravage the small lake towns. Wait, no, that's something else. But you'll have plenty of chances to be able to unleash, I guess, hell in this sense, upon the populace, upon yourselves, and upon, of course, me. So thanks in advance for that. Okay. So you're all held up in the small town of Kron, which is to the northwest of the ruins of Carolina. And they call them the ruins of Carolina. Oh, somebody, I think, followed. And I don't know who it was because my OBS just screwed up. Oh, that's why. I'm so sorry. Someone just followed. Thank you so much for following. We are doing this just in our spare time, so I will add that real fast because that should have been there way before then. There we go. That should have helped. Yeah, I'll have to find out who you are once I get my my update real fast here, and then we'll definitely recognize you for that. But thank you so much for following. I'm really glad you're enjoying this so far. I hope you guys like it. But again, you guys are being held up in the small city of Kron. It's a small little village northwest of the ruins of Carolina, and the reason why they call them the ruins of Carolina is because most of the city was destroyed after the assassination of the prince and princess, who were basically killed on their wedding night. It was very, very brutal. And it kind of ripped the populace apart, and it caused civil war, is what it did. And this was all about 20 to 25 years ago. So back before you guys were very much, well, except for, of course, a couple of you, because a couple of you are like 900 years old, for Pete's sake. Stop it, making this hard on me like this. Good grief. Don't even get me started on the rock troll we have waiting in the sub-characters section that's over almost 1,000 years old, and it was raised by magical wizards to life? Oh my gosh. Please tell me I don't have to bring that character in, because I am going to hate that character. I'm going to kill that character so fast.
Oh my gosh.
Anywho, all that to say...
So you gotta want that, yeah. Oh my gosh.
All that to say... This is
the long winter.
Pretty much. So, you all have very much memorable moments of what that day was like and where you were. Now, for some of you, you were in your hometown. Now, for Dak, because I don't have your bio, I don't know where the heck you were, so I'm just going to say that you were probably floating out in space someplace, or exploring a nearby cavern, probably nearby. I would just assume that much at this point.
My guy wasn't born yet, so...
Your person was not born yet, and I understand that as well. Lemuris, that's the person who followed. Thank you so much, Lemuris, for following. It's always a pleasure to be able to entertain people, and it's very nice to be able to see that someone else has followed along with us for this little journey. So thank you, Lemuris, for doing that. So there are a couple people that I do need to mention in regards to our characters. So, yes, Kavamros, you actually were born at this point, because you're 70 years old, as we get started on this. So you were about 50 or so, a little under 50, when the event began. Your Wingle people mostly live up in the north near Braun, so it didn't affect you guys as much, because of the fact that you prefer the mountain areas, where flight is easier on your wings. You live to a longer age when you don't actually have to... Excuse me. Soda is not a good idea, folks, just so you know. Soda is not going to help this. But you live up in the North Country, in Braun, as your region of choice, because of the fact that it helps you live longer. Yes, make bird noises, please. Coo coo.
Wait, this...
Oh, man. So, Dak, I'm going to assume that you probably were on an adventure... Here, I'll just make up a quick backstory for you. 25 years ago, you were exploring the countryside of the Serbs, in the southeast region, there's a swamp monster that you were trying to prevent from taking over the city of Cobalt. And
I was there on a tenure, though, from my
I'm sorry?
academy. I was there on a tenure from my academy, just doing a little bit of a research.
Yes. Well, actually, not from your academy. You were doing one to show off for your academy, because you're technically 970 years old, is it now?
Yeah.
Something like that. So you're very, very old.
Yeah.
Grandpa.
And you were doing a mission for your person. Yeah, don't... I'm not the figure... I mean, here's the really funny part. Dak is considerably hard to kill off.
I'm sure you'll find a way.
Oh, that's the hard part, is finding a way, isn't it? Oh, yes, of
What's your
course.
kryptonite?
But I'm really bad at attacking anybody, so I'm hard to kill off, but I'm really bad at killing anybody else.
Exactly. So you were in the region of the Thurbs, helping defend the town of Cobalt, when you got news of the Carolina Empire's, or Unification's, demise, which happened in about a 2-month period, basically. It was basically heard overnight that the prince and princess were destroyed, or assassinated, as they were referred to as. You never got information about how they were killed, or you know, any details in regards to it. In fact, nobody really did. All they basically told people was that,
And,
they're coming to get us! And Strace is gone. Uh-oh. They got him. They got him, guys. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Strace, I told you, you know, you can't sell that stuff. It just can't be
Can't
sold.
do that, yeah. Especially when live streaming, man. What are you thinking?
Wait, you guys are talking about his oyster collection, right?
yeah, sure.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
I cook it into my eggs.
Oh.
Oh, gosh, no.
Oh, man. Oh, this is going to be great.
Oh, no.
So, anywho, there wasn't a lot of information that was spilled to the other regions nearby, especially in the Montenay area, or even the Slurves, who were at that point still very hostile to the Serbs. So you were both trying to help the Serbs out, but then also trying to cool off the Slurves, who were, well, this sounds like I'm swearing or something, who were also very hot-headed in regards to the two regions nearby. So there's been civil wars between the Slurves and the Serbs, because they were both once a united nation, as well as, of course, the Carolina Empire. So,
You're doing a tongue twister, that's all.
exactly. Lovely. I'm so glad I made up these names that are so hard to pronounce and so hard to read on my stupid text that I named them as. Oh my gosh,
You need
this is
phonetic
ridiculous.
translations, Alex. Just have it
Ugh.
covered.
I'll make a list of all my translations and what each one is, and I'll be like looking it up all the time, you know?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
This is
Southwest
each
region's
episode.
known as... That's in the... Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Anywho, so you were in that
This
area
font.
when it happened. Shoomfie, or Kavamros. You were in the north when it happened, and news got around very fast because, of course, you guys send ambassadors to the Carolina Empire. One of your ambassadors was actually there when the event took place. He reported that there was a lot of commotion, but no information got passed around about the details. So that's actually news to you, is that there was no information leaked at all in regards into how the couple were killed. So very skeptical was the ambassador when he arrived back home as to how and why they got assassinated. And that was what puzzled you the most. You were, of course, about 45 years of age when it happened. You were training at that point to be an Alacrite, which was kind of against your race's specifications, so they kind of considered you a bit of an outsider in some regards. However, if I can look back on your character sheet really fast, I believe... Yes, that's right. You were training in the hopes to find your lost daughter during this time.
Not
Now...
mine, somebody else's.
Oh, someone else's.
Yeah, the royal families.
Oh, the royal families. I'll have to read your character bio. Actually, no, I'll have you guys read your character bios shortly here, so that way you guys can explain where you come from, because I'm not going to be able to understand all of it, and you guys will a lot more than I will. So we'll do that instead. I won't try to read those for you. But basically, you were up there training, preparing for your mission, or life mission at this point. And
I still don't really know where, because you said there were 2 areas.
yes, I'm gonna position you out in the Tiloyski. Tiloyski, yes, as it's known, which is to the direct west of Carolina. But you weren't
I'm
born
gonna
yet,
say-
so you don't have any information about this.
Yes, but I'm assuming I was born in the town next to. I cannot read that.
Zarkan? Yes, that's
It's very
Zarkan.
hard to read.
Zarkan. I should bolden all my letters so that way they're easier to read. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, you were born to the east of Zarkan, which is the capital of Tiloyski. Tiloyski. I think it's supposed to be Tiloyetsky. I think that's what it's supposed to be. But I can't pronounce that very well, especially with stowed in my mouth. So, you were born about 5 years after the incident, outside of Zarkan. And, I guess we should start with you, actually, if you'd like to explain kind of where you come from. To set the mood, I'll do this. So, in the small town of Kron, there are officially 3 pubs. There are 3 pubs. One of them is for the very, very poor people. One of them is for the very, very rich people, as is normally common in pubs. The third one is a bit of a mix of both. Now, the reason why it's a bit of a mix of both is that the beer is very, very cheap. But the setting is very, very rich. Nice place to sleep, nice place to eat, nice place to perform as well. However, there are a lot of bad problems in regards to the food and the drink. But the cheap prices are what bring a lot of people in, plus the nice environment. That is where you 3 are right at this moment. And unfortunately, there's somebody with you. You have been met by a man, and if I've got his character sheet or not, I don't think I do. But I'll check and make sure. Was Gafru the person I wanted to do for this? I don't think he was, but I'll double check and make sure. No, it was not. All you know is that a older looking man in his what appears to be late 70s, I would say. He looks very frail. He's got gray hair, a little almost French mustache approach to his facial features, I would say. He looks almost like a butler would look like, but you can tell there's a bit of there's a diplomatic presence about him. He commands himself very well. And he has approached all 3 of you via telegram or paper messaging system, as it's known. Telegram is the easiest way to explain it, basically. It's the mail, basically.
Yeah.
But you have all been lettered. Not you individually. This is where it gets a little interesting. Basically, this gentleman sent out letters of invitation to both regions and academies, and any kind of an organized group that would be willing to send a warrior in training or someone who needed an apprenticeship in certain areas to meet him at Kron. And that is why you have all come here. So, Shoomfie, your character was nominated as part of it because of your hard training. They understood that this would be a good chance for you to get some real-life experience, since Kron is outside of Carolina. They expected it to be kind of dangerous, which is completely true, to be honest. It's going to be very dangerous. Dak, your character was selected because you wanted to be able to have another mission to show off to the Academy. You are trying to rise into the ranks of the Masters Guild section, which is very hard to obtain. Not the Masters as you know it, but a different type of Masters Guild. And then, Pilib McCracken, aka Strays, you had been basically kind of forced to go based upon your reputation. The local village basically offered you it as a reward for your many years of service to the town. And you joined out of the idea that it might have good risk for reward. And you basically got tricked into going, basically.
Get out of here.
Well, it does help that that your wisdom was only a 12. Let's just say. Okay, so there was some lack of intelligence a little bit. You got intelligence, but your wisdom wasn't exactly full full front and center. I mean, a couple of beers, and that intelligence goes down to like a 10 or so. So they got a few into you, and that's all they needed to get you to accept.
At the time. I don't remember my actions. Yeah.
Well, you had just finished up some of your missions to the south because you had wrapped around from the area of. You had finished up the Zerb's mission a long time ago, but you had gone south to the Montenay section and were sweeping around the south end of the entire continent up through the Vitzen, how did I pronounce it? Vitzen, I believe, area. And then you had finished up by around Gale, and that was a 20-year trek that you had done, basically. And that was going from town to town, fixing stuff and helping people out. So you had just done all of that when the Academy sent you a letter saying that you should go to Kron for this little episode that they had planned for you. So basically, you're now all seated, all three of you, around this table with this gentleman. And again, he looks like he's about 70 to 75-ish, diplomat it appears. And he has unveiled to you all a master plan, which I will go into in just a second here. But before he unveils it all, he looks around the table, and he recognizes that you guys have some very different ages, races, and classes. And he wants to know a little bit more about your guys' selves before he just starts jumping into this, because, as he puts it, gentlemen, I was expecting someone a little bit more. He looks at, he looks over at Akron. Younger? He looks over at, Kavamros. Less hesitant to flight? And possibly, looking over to Philip, a little bit less rogue looking. So, please explain to me yourselves, your background a little bit, who you are, and why exactly are you here? Which may be a hard question for some of you, but if you want to have any more information, I can try to get you guys more information.
We are getting paid for this, right?
The meal is free. I mean, you answered the invitation, so you get a free meal at least and a free lodging for the night. You can go wherever you'd like to if you don't want to keep working for me. It's not a problem.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, that's really your first question?
You got any
What?
food?
Yes, exactly.
So,
Hey,
I guess we'll
question
start
if
with
you
the
can
the
tell us.
older gentleman, since of course we always start with the older people in the room. Although technically
They're
you're probably
probably
ageless, considering all in all. But please begin. I believe the name was Akron, I believe, right?
Yes, that's correct, indeed, my good sir. My story is certainly a long one, from your perspective, I suppose.
Well, yes, technically 900 plus years would definitely be considered a long one.
Well, from an Acrono point of view, that's nothing in comparison, but I suppose from a linear view of time, one might think that it is a while. Yes, I would think so. I am here only to partake in this venture because I have a certain, well, shall we say, hierarchical procedures that I want to do when I get back home.
People to impress, I see. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
So, how experienced are you in, per se, I would assume you're very skilled in diplomacy. Coming from your background, diplomacy would probably be your biggest aspect of your career?
That would indeed be one of them, I believe, if I, just, hold on.
While he looks up his statistics.
Do I know diplomacy or not?
Wait, am I actually good at this stuff?
Yes, it's like, character sheet, character sheet, character sheet. I believe-
Diplomacy,
yes,
diplomacy.
Yeah, I'm good at it.
Oh, good.
Yes, indeed, sir. I am. I have somewhat of the learnings of I have a way around noble classes, shall we say?
Good.
The
I'd-
upper echelons of people.
It will be substantially important for our possible undertaking here, for you to be very skilled in regards to certain aspects and I do believe that you will be an excellent addition to our team if you so choose to. Nothing! Don't tell me nothing!
Playing mind games with the GM already.
Ah. So,
Nothing.
the other question I would have for you, sir, then, I guess, is how good are you with your weapon of choice? What is your weapon of choice? We will most definitely get into a very deadly situation, possibly some very scandalous situations here, and I don't want to endanger you if you have no means of actually fighting for yourself.
Do not worry, good sir. For the last, I have had no need of such barbaric devices to defend myself.
I see that our Wingo friend here has some, takes an offense to the barbaric term. We'll have to hopefully channel that into your idea of what you would like to do for your future. So we'll get to you in just a second, but I'd like to listen to this gentleman finish first, if you don't mind.
I can't say no to a good sword.
That is very true. I will agree with you on that. But do continue, Akron, my dear sir. Please continue.
Well, in my long, from your perspective, life, I have learned that one's greatest weapon is the mind. So, I have not indeed any time that I can remember, not since I was, a wee thing, if I was very young, and I was a little bit rash then. But from time unknown, I'd say that my only acquired device is a simple screwdriver that I have right here.
Ah, you dare show your weapon in the middle of a pub? You might be able to get yourself excommunicated from this place if you're not careful. I'd put that away if you don't mind. It could hurt somebody.
It's not a weapon, sir. It just opens doors.
And a door nearby opens and shuts, and the entire bar now is looking around trying to find the source. And
Philip raises his hand and says, "This opens doors also."
oh, the old gentleman laughs. You are quite a witty one. I do enjoy a person who knows how to do a nice, funny little gag like that. You might be a very excellent choice for us. In regards to the person who just spoke, actually, what is your weapon of choice? I might ask.
My weapon of choice is, I would say, stealth.
Ah.
I take in account my surroundings for most of my attacks. It does not matter what I use. I am usually deadly.
Ah, so you are officially what I thought you were. Have you enjoyed your life so far?
As a king, as some would say.
How do you feel?
How do you feel going around killing innocent children and other people? Just kidding. That was out of character. That was.
To be killed.
Out of character.
Oh man, good response. Bravo, sir. Bravo. I do enjoy an honest opinion. So, how many years have you been in this recruiting business, I would say, or being able to be recruited?
May I hear that question again?
How much experience do you have at this point?
Well, I was part of a small group of raiders like that. And, I would say we went for around 8 years. So, I do have some experience. Not as much, per se, as this fine old gentleman.
I must dare say, I don't know if any of us will be able to compete with the old gentleman here in the middle. It'll be very hard to match anybody's age with him. But it is good to see that you have some experiences in regards to both groups and also in organized, possibly organized crime. But we won't get into that because I don't want to know all your backstory, just enough to let me have a little bit of my mouth wetted. Not a problem beyond that. So, that brings us to our last gentleman, the Wingle on the left. Now, what brings you here, answering my invitational call?
Well, to be completely honest, it's about the money.
Oh! Well, the money
for it.
does bring a lot of people in, sometimes the wrong people, so why should you be here?
Well, I was headed this way anyway. I'm looking for somebody, so I'm just passing through, and my old trainer handed me this note before I left, and decided I'd swing by and see what this place is all about.
Alright, a mission in a mission. It would seem that fate has most definitely pulled you into this mess, unfortunately. It will be very hard for you to, well, we'll see about that. It could be very interesting for you after you hear the information that I will be telling you all in just a minute. I do believe I was expecting to have 2 more people entertaining us tonight, but it does seem as if we are alone, unfortunately. AKA out of character, there are 2 people who are supposed to be here who have not been able to make it, so we will include them at a later date. There should be 5 participants in general.
Yeah,
Yes.
Alex, last time I checked, though, Jacob was up on Steam.
He is. He says he's got his papers to work on, so I'm hoping that he's working on his papers right now. But
Oh, okay, because I saw him playing something on Steam.
I know he was playing something earlier. Yeah, I'm hoping he'll join us, but we will see about that. I don't know if he'll actually be joining us or not. So we will find out.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoops, I don't want that on my screen. There.
We should raid his.
Ha ha.
Were
We
you gonna play music
should.
through, TeamSpeak?
I'm sorry?
Were you gonna play music through TeamSpeak?
We will be playing
Alex,
music
character
through
guy, Can we
TeamSpeak.
do sound effects, too? That might be kind of cool if we
We
do sound
can
effects.
do sound effects. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do some tonight per se. I don't have anything lined up in the way of like actual action tonight, but we can do that for future episodes. Absolutely. The hard part is that I have to basically have the server up and running at all times, therefore, and actually manage it all. It's very hard to do and not exactly very easy to manage. So we will see. I'm hoping that I can, though. That would be very nice.
Whatever's easiest.
Exactly. Okay, so, out of character, I would like you guys to explain your backstory in more detail, so that way your companions know who you are. So, out of character...
Or is it not omittable?
I'm sorry?
Can we omit stuff? Like if we... like
If
our
you would like to
character's
omit
not-
stuff that could be a little bit too revealing of your character, then yes, you may take away certain parts if you'd like to. But if you have a story to tell and would like to tell it, go ahead and do that now. I guess we'll start, Shoomfie, if you'd like to begin.
Yeah.
Just so
please.
that way
That's fine.
just so that our viewers can know who you are and what your, maybe even mention your race, your class. I'll even bring up your guys' character sheets so that way they can see them as we go through them. But go ahead and explain yourself.
Alright, so out of character, Kivamros Amandil is a Alacrite, a Wingle Alacrite warrior. So Wingle being his race, meaning he's basically a humanoid with wings. And then an Alacrite is like a speed-based assault class, I guess, specializing in two-handed weapons. So, just a picture Legolas with wings.
So your character list is, of course, Wingle Alacrite. You are based at... we're going to be starting all of our characters here at level 15 for the introduction sessions, which will actually be very interesting to see how they go, because we've planned to start them at level 15 and then jump them all back to level 1 through the course of the story, which will be very interesting. A little bit of a spoiler there, but that's okay. So at level 15, your character has 119 HP, initiative of 6. Your modifiers were generally pretty favorable. You are majoring in intelligence. You do have a pretty good reflex ability. Your major aspect is your speed and your melee and ranged general attack ability, which is actually very, very strong, because you've done 15 levels into one class, which is very different than most people's dual classes or lower class hit rates. Your main weapon is a scimitar. You use that as your...
Whatever weapon you decided to give us, I don't think...
Oh, you're right. We haven't actually done that yet, because I still need to give you guys your weapons, which we can actually do tonight if you'd like to.
Are we... This is for our level 15 characters, right, Alex?
Level 15 characters, that is correct. So
yeah.
Weapons that... You know, because... Okay, go ahead, yeah.
So, Kavamros has specialized his skills into jump, intimidate, move silently, and tumble, with a little bit of spot in there as well. He didn't get a lot of skills, unfortunately, not so much as Dak or Akron was able to accumulate. So we're pretty much expecting Shoomfie here to have his Kavamros character be a bit of a tank with a DPS sub-role into his character, depending on how we specify his character. His grapple is also very good. And would you like to explain your bio by any chance?
Yeah, sure. So, Kiva Moros, or Kiva, is 70 years old, which is kind of like, roughly in human years, that would be like mid-20s, 30s-ish. So, they do have a lot of age to not as much as like a Time Lord, but so his single purpose is to search for the lost daughter from the lineage of Meagwin, which is like the Wingle culture is like broken down into like 12 tribes, and the main tribe is the only one that still lives in the sky, which is the lineage of Meagwin. And the story goes is that the last living pure-blooded relative from that line escaped an assassination attempt and is wandering somewhere on Earth. And so Kiva is trying to find her and try an attempt to reunite his tribe with the main tribe.
Very cool. Now, do you have any background in family areas that we should be alerted to?
I don't have anything in my bio. I can make it up on the spot. So he is from the northern region of Braun, from a small village where he lives with both of his parents, or lived until a few years ago when he moved out and started questing for the lost daughter.
What exactly is their history in regards to this lost daughter?
It's only rumored that she's actually alive. But she's in hiding because of the assassination attempt many years ago.
Okay. What's the
so it's their relation, the tribal relations between the I don't remember if it's 12 or 13 tribes, is kind of like, it's neutral. They kind of split up after like a civil war way back at like, years and years and years and years ago. So they're not enemies, but they aren't super friendly either.
And who was this character, this daughter? What was her importance in regards to the tribes?
Well, she was the last remaining pure-blooded Wingle from the line of Meagwin.
Ah, okay. So kind of almost a priestess type approach to her character.
She, so she has like connection to the main, I guess you could call it the capital, although it's not really a capital, the main city, whereas everybody else, all the other 11 tribes kind of like are scattered across the earth, kind of.
Okay.
Little areas.
Now, and this is just so that way you can establish it and I can remember it and record this, but are those 11 tribes, are they kind of ostracized from the original True Blood of the...
Yes, they're kind of... The I guess the True Blood, as you could call it, are kind of elitist about it.
Okay. So there's a bit of a generally neutral, chaotic approach to each of these tribes' diplomacy with each other in regards to this quest of yours as well. So you may not receive much help from them, to be honest. And I'm pretty sure you know that at this point.
Yeah, but as far as other Wingles go, the 11 tribes on the ground, they're not like against each other.
Well, they look after their own people. But
Yes.
if you delve too deeply into the backstory diplomatically about your quest, they may not be so willing to assist you.
Probably not. Although they probably want to find her just as much as anybody else.
True. So they may actually help you and hope that they eventually can prosper from your finding of her. Okay. Good to know. So, and again, this is just so that way you guys know a little bit about yourselves and your history, and also so that way the other people, Strays, and of course, Dak, can also know a little bit about, kind of your species' background and some of the local news that's been fluttering around for the past 20 years or so, basically.
Here's an interesting anecdote about people who supposedly find this lost daughter. It says, popular opinion among Wingles suspects the daughter still lives, traveling land below in her father's red riding cloak. But this has not been officially confirmed, and those who claim to have irrefutable proof often vanish mysteriously.
Ooh. She eats them. Da, da, da. Big plot twist. Alright. So now that you guys know a little bit about the Wingle species, which resides in the north, but also in any place that has mountainy hill approaches. There are a couple places, I believe, that I was going to have mountains. I think Tilitsky has a couple, as well as a couple that are down by Montenay. There's, I think, one hilltop in Montenay that would be considerably a good residing place for Wingle species. Now, moving along, I think that's all we need to know about. You're good at collecting and recovering people's belongings, and you often take side jobs. So that will fit perfectly into this side job, which will turn into something a bit more than just a side job.
Can we put an anecdote on, or rather an asterisk on that? He likes taking. He doesn't like taking side jobs always, right? Apparently, because I kind of got that vibe.
Well,
talking.
That's not the purpose of what I'm doing. The reason I take the side jobs is to make, pay the bills and then continue on my personal quest.
So
exactly.
You're not necessarily you're not passionate about whatever side job you are doing.
At this point, it's just something to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Much like a traveling bard would do, he would perform in local pubs to keep himself alive. Otherwise, he'd die on the side of the road and no one would ever hear about him, and that's the end of Bard, Step 1. Yes.
Strum.
Dun.
You can do that, Jim.
Yes. He didn't perform and he died on the side of the road. Dun 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 dun. The end. Yes. So, moving on to our middle figure, Akron. What exactly do you have in the way of a backstory to tell us about your character and the world of the Time Lords? Yes, folks, we're actually having a Time Lord amongst us. This is going to be fantastic. Can't wait for this.
The strangest RPG.
Well, I can tell you a little bit about I'll tell you about a little bit about the history of Time Lords and then backstory of my character as well. So, Gallifrey, my race comes up from the planet of Gallifrey. Most people are actually. Are you seriously going away because you?
I don't want to listen to this. No, it's okay. Go ahead, Shoomfie.
I'll be right back.
It's like, I don't know.
No! Just gonna everyone take a break. 2 minutes. Oh dear me.
Oh, we're actually taking a break?
Only if Dak is gonna take a break, because if we're taking a break, then we will wait 2 minutes. But I think he's coming back anyways. Yeah.
Okay.
Har. Yeah, but please go ahead and continue, Dak. Please continue.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, it's like we're done. All right. So the Citadel of the Time Lords. So it's Gallifrey. So I come from the planet Gallifrey. My race is called Gallifreyans, and Time Lords are a special breed, so to speak, of Gallifreyans. Everybody on Gallifrey has the ability to regenerate. However, Time Lords have perfected the art of regeneration and can regenerate not necessarily more times than anybody else on Gallifrey. It's just that they regenerate and they also study. They are inducted into the academy. So at the age of 8, they're taken to stand in front of the Eye of Eye of Solace, I believe it is, and they are initiated into the ranks of Time Lords, basically, and they stare into the heart of the time vortex, and they kind of usually see whatever their life's purpose or meaning is at that point, because they are basically looking at the entire universe and multiverse. So, between the citadel of the Time Lords lies between the mountains of Solace and Solitude, and it's basically encased within a great glass dome. Pretty much, it's not glass, but looks like glass, basically. And that's where most of the Time Lords are brought up in the academy and trained. So after their first regeneration, or my Time Lord in this case, they would actually basically they have a preset amount of regenerations, which is 11. 12 technically, that's how many you can have, but so you can have 12 regenerations, but on their first one they actually get most of the features that would make them seem like a Time Lord, which is 2 hearts and multiple different internal organs, and they develop an extrasensory perception for sensing psionically, at least, the nuances and any currents of the time vortex, pretty much.
Okay, so you're pretty much a generic Time Lord at this point in regards to the backstory of all that. So your character is, of course, Time Lord class, Time Lord race. We've specified your age as unknown. Technically, it's unknown.
So I would get my end regeneration here. So the first regeneration is where you get like all that stuff, and then I'm towards like the end here, so I'm getting like Doctor pre-11, pretty much, if anybody said that. Pre-11,
yes.
Doctor Who age. So if I regenerate again, this is going to be getting close here. So yeah.
Yeah. So you've regenerated enough that we know that you're pretty much getting very, very close to the ending of your entire life, basically.
Regeneration. Yeah, regeneration. Usually, what happens is the Time Lord gets younger as
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
But we don't know your age, basically, but we know that you're very close to your next regeneration. So, you've been doing a lot of oddball jobs, I assume, trying to finalize some of your standing positions with your elders.
Yeah. Basically, my character, I focused on. I took on the name. I focused on temporal mechanics, which is pretty, in the halls of Time Lord, where everybody is already knows a lot of temporal mechanics. It's very difficult to make inroads on that field. So obviously the studying for it can go on multiple basically multiple regeneration cycles before you have at least publish your first paper or anything like that.
Yes.
But
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But I'm an older gentleman, and that's what I am at the moment. Yes.
Okay. So Jack's character is basically a diplomat. He has specialized in intelligence and wisdom, as you can see here on the list. He is not a fighter. He has strength, and his dexterity is 2 and 10, respectively. His constitution is a 3, which means that he gets a lot of negative bonuses to his attacking ability. He's rolled some pretty good rolls in our practice runs, however, so he's done generically pretty well. But his abilities to do diplomacy, disguising, gathering information, knowledge of arcana stuff, and a lot of different generic stuff, the planes as well, opening locks, sensing motive, it's all very, very high at level 15. He also has a knowledge of Psycraft and using psionic devices, hence the reason why he actually has his screwdriver at this point. He's also very intelligent in languages as well as in his feats and class abilities. Again, he's not going to really be used for fighting. We may end up forcing him to fight somehow, some way. But otherwise, he is mostly a support for his team. To be honest, he will take on a support role, which is why we can actually keep him in the game as a Time Lord, because it doesn't actually become OP until basically he has all of his spells, which would normally come around level 18 and higher up. So he has some limitations, and once we hit the limitations, he becomes a sitting duck just to be able to get swatted like a bug. So he'll have to be really careful before I kill him very, very quickly. All right.
This is nice. I'm getting to know my GM.
Oh, yes, you are.
Why do you want me to...
I am against all of you.
GM.
So yes, and that, and
I
that.
expected more love and tolerance.
Aww.
And
Did you think I'd go that easy on you guys?
Yeah, I was
Really?
looking for a land of rainbows.
That's MLP land. I'm not going there.
And easy kills.
The last person on our list of characters to introduce to both the people watching and to myself, because I don't know you guys as much as you guys know yourselves, is of course Philip McCracken, who sounds like he's from Scotland, but he's actually a rogue/bard, and he's half elf, half human. So he's got some interesting backstory to explain about that.
Okay. Should I be doing my bio then, basically?
If you'd like to do a run through your bio, that'd be just fine. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically, I grew up in a town called Angor. I just named it that. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, that was right outside of Zarkin, to the north. Mm-hmm.
Zarkin. And I had a fairly okay life until my mother was murdered, or in an accident, so it wasn't exactly.
Lovely.
I like to think it is. And my dad hung himself out of grief. Yes. Happy times. Now, and after that, basically, I didn't want to stay in the town anymore. Oh yeah, and basically everyone in the town hated me because I was half elf. My father being a human, my mother being elf. And everyone in the town was elvish, so they didn't exactly like that inter-species thing. And where has that gone?
He has replaced himself with a sign for love and tolerance.
You just need to have more love, man. You just do.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Oh
so
my gosh.
I was grieved by my parents' death, so I sold the house and I moved to AZAxle. And I lived there for 5 years off the money from the house until I started to run out. So I took up small jobs, but nothing was doing. Okay, more pictures.
Oh man. Please continue.
Nothing was getting me by. So I eventually joined up with a group called the Raiders. And
Raiders?
yes, we called ourselves the Raiders. And
Let's see.
we started out doing small jobs like just not manners, but like houses, small, like middle class houses. We would take, and
They would go in and clean out.
You would clean
Yes.
house. You would
Exactly.
Clean house.
We were a cleaning agency.
Yep.
And
We were legitimate business. Seriously. Adam, we did. Seriously, we did.
we slowly ramped up to higher officials' houses, and we were living like kings. We were able to sustain ourselves, and we bought a pretty nice place, but in a hidden back alley place because we didn't want to make ourselves too known. And one day we decided to hit a wizard's house, and we didn't know he was still home. And I escaped, but I believe most of my comrades were blown apart. And during that time, I lost my hearing, and my left eyebrow has not grown back since. So I am down one eyebrow. And
You only need one. It's kind of like the kidney, it's like the appendix. It's kind of one of those useless
So you're
things.
gonna have to roll pretty high for those eyebrow-related stats.
true.
Yeah.
Yes. And since I was reported to the authorities, I had to leave town. and I had to leave my fortune behind. I basically just ran with a small amount of money and a small amount of supplies, and I was prompted, not prompted, but I believe someone told me that this job was happening and that I should probably go get out of town and do this.
Well, the
Does that
official
sound right,
report
Alex?
was that the town held an emergency meeting that
Yeah.
you were not involved with. What you didn't know is that they actually had received this invitation because of the fact that they represent the entire race of elves in the nearby area. Basically, it came to the attention of Zarkan that they needed to send somebody or offer this as a possible job to the elves. And this town, seeing it as being a good opportunity to get rid of you, volunteered you for yourself. And
Elgar, yeah.
they basically honored you with the parting gift of leaving the town forever to go on this trek that would most likely kill you, is their approach to it.
Yes.
So, even though you
No.
may not have realized it, it was not in your favor, but,
Well, I was on the run, basically.
well, technically,
But
yes.
they not over the intercom. I guess they had like someone shouting in the halls, "We choose this guy," because I was trying not to get caught by authority, but they were basically telling me to leave town.
Yes.
Zed agreed to prison for a long time.
And yes, so I took that option because they probably knew that I would have been a hassle, and I probably would have wrecked much of the town if they tried going after me.
Agreed. Very much agreed, so. So, that is our character introductions. That is who we are. So again, Philip McCracken is a level 15, half-elf, half-human, rogue/bard approached class. He is very much good at range attacking, as well as, I believe, stealth, was also your secondary skill, I believe.
So bows and daggers.
Bows and daggers, pretty much. You do have a very nice intellect in regards to languages, and your ability class is also very, very good. However, you are very, very weak when it comes to defensing and, well, not so much into HP, technically. You are a pretty high HP person at this point, but your reflexes, your best ability, and dodging ranged attacks and also some melee attacks is also really good. However, your hand-to-hand combat skills is very, very poor. So, you'll want to keep an eye on that whenever we do stuff. Alright, so that is our 3 characters. We have 2 other characters that are not with us right now. Connor and Jacob are not here right now. And they will be joining us, hopefully... That was weird.
Where is again, Alex? Yeah.
I don't think it's my mic, unless it is, for some oddball reason. But they will be joining us for later episodes at this point, as far as I can remember. And we will see how they go at this point. So, I guess what I can do is explain to you all what the scenario is. Because the gentleman, now that he knows a little bit about you all, he can at least explain what's going on. So, allow me to get into character here and impromptu all of this. Yes, all of this. So, as you gentlemen know, you received an invitation, or in some cases, a summoning to be here. Most of you were invited through alternative means. Either your group invited you, or a higher authority asked you to be here in regards to why you're all here on this table in the middle of Krone, on the outskirts of the ruin of Carolina. My name is not important right now, because I don't want to give away any information unless you are in or out. So I will explain to you what is happening, and then I will let you make your decision. But before we begin, a question.
Yes. So out of character / in character, can I use any type of like knowledge and perception checks? Pretty much, I could know what it is right now a little bit. If I
You
could.
may, if you would like to. You guys may be in character and use any of your skills. You are level 15 characters. Be prepared to roll d20s, though, okay? We'll make it fast
I'd like
and
to
make
be
it quick.
balanced in my chair.
That would be stating that you want to be unbalanced, basically.
It would be my roll one, just Kevin randomly falls out of his chair.
You suddenly find that your chair only has 3 legs and you fall backwards.
No.
But yes, if you would like to use any of your abilities, you may.
Use rope.
Use rope.
Bring him up!
He may not offer you a job if you do that. Just saying.
Oh, I can wipe his memory after that. We can totally be okay with it.
Okay, anyway.
Okay.
Yes. Right.
8 characters.
Anything else?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I'm gonna roll that.
Wasn't me.
That was Kyle.
I'm pushing buttons again.
He rolled an ace.
Okay, so you just pressed okay.
Oh, no.
You find your
But
chair
you
is
rolled
very
that.
sturdy, made by the best of hands in Kron.
Yay!
Alright. Is there anything you'd like to do, Mr. NobleTheory?
Yes, I would like to, believe it's called, my character, hold on. I'm gonna have to get the stuff up, so that would probably be a good time to have all our character sheets up, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you don't have your character sheets up, please pull them up. You will need those if you want to reference stuff. Because
Yeah,
if we're going to
please
jump into
roll
this,
from your,
even if we're going to do a little bit of
stats,
stuff, you will want those. So, while he does that, I'll explain at least a little bit. So, as you may have guessed, I am a bit of an authority here in Kron. Technically, I am the, how did they put it? They established me as the, what was it, diplomat of the, West region of Curry, I believe is what they said. AKA the governor of the West region of Curry, which includes Kron, basically. My job is to oversee and report on anything that happens, basically. And unfortunately, I've seen way too much. Not from the past couple of years, but from multiple years ago. I've decided that my actions in a previous event were completely and ultimately a failure. I was a failure to my people, a failure to myself, and a failure to that which I love most. And I don't have my OBS up. Thank you, Coventry, for following. It's always nice while I'm in the middle of a speech to be able to do that. I'll try not to do that until I'm done, but I didn't have my OBS up, so I freaked out for a second there. But, yes, I did, unfortunately,
Hold the thought, and then address the viewer!
And back to the game. Anywho, so, I did, unfortunately, fail my people immensely. I didn't perform the actions that I should have done, and I regretted it till now, and I decided that this is the time, because I am getting old of age, and I know that I will be dying very shortly, that I should at least do one thing right in my life, and this little mission, this idea is what I will die for. So that's just putting that out there before you guys do all your action stuff. He explains that all to you. Before we begin me explaining this, I need to know, are you in? Do you want to listen to this, or are you out? Because the minute I tell you this information, the minute we spill the beans on this little adventure that I would like to give you, it will also come with many consequences. Some that could be a life or death situation. Most undoubtedly, a life or death situation, is all I can say. And right now I'd like to know, are you gentlemen willing to take on a life or death situation mission? Because some of you may have something else that you would prefer to be doing at this moment. I can promise you, however, that if you take this mission, you'll be paid with all of the riches that Carolina has to offer. No, I literally mean it.
You mean that ruined pile of rocks down the road?
Not just the ruined pile of rocks down the road. The entire pile of rocks down the road.
Ooh.
Everything about
You
it.
get a bigger rock.
You
May
get
I
all
ask-
the rocks. Even the nice rocks. You get all of them. So,
May I?
Yeah, but Phil, you're
Yes.
being sarcastic there.
May I at least ask what side we are fighting for?
you ask which side we are fighting for. This is not a black and white world, my friend. You can't just ask what side I'm on. I'm on the side of the innocent. I'm on the side of the people who have been betrayed. I am on
I
the
would
side
rather not.
of the citizens of Carolina. And unfortunately,
I would rather not work with Imperials.
Imperials, bah! The Imperials of this world are scum, and they know it too. They actually do honestly know that they are scum, and that is what I fight against. So if you are against organized people and what has become of this world, then you will easily see my way of things and want to join me.
I have, without a doubt, I will join.
Good. That is what I wanted to hear from you, my sir. Now, about you two. Are you in for this, or are you out?
I would indeed, my good sir. Allow myself to partake in this adventure.
Excellent! And while you're at it, you will also be helping those people who have been unjustly injured in this entire escapade. And it will definitely be a good cause to put on your resume for your experienced experts. Or elders, I guess, at this point. Experienced experts. Yeah, really good job, Alex. Really good job. Bravo, English, bravo. But it will, of course, be in your best interests in regards to this most injustice that has happened. It will be a very good thing for you to experience firsthand. And what about you? Last person on the left.
Yeah.
Money.
I can tell you that as of right now, I can pay you very handsomely at the end of all this. And not only will you be able to continue
just
on
at
your
the end?
mission, but it'll also
isn't
allow
a-
you to have the fame and the influence to be able to continue your exploration and your other missions further on in your life. It will be most good for you.
I feel the only one who
And
wants
half up
to
front.
I'm sorry?
So can I get paid half up front?
I cannot stand this.
I can pay you half of what I would expect to pay all of you as your base salaries. Because I am, thankfully, rich. Because of the magnificent Imperial
May I ask where
banks.
you live?
I'm sorry?
May I ask where you live?
I live in the capital of Curry, also known as, I believe it's Newtown? Newturn. I live up in Newturn, which is up in Curry. So if you want to go visit me after this is all said and done, you may. I would be most honored to have you all here. Maybe with some extra guards to make sure you don't abdicate with some of my better things in life, such as my wife. But if you would like to come and visit me afterwards, I am more than happy to honor you as guests and to celebrate what could possibly be the turning point of our nation and our citizens after this is all said and done. So yes.
I came down through Newturn. That was a nice, cheery little town.
It was. It's Newturn is probably one of the better towns in all of the Northern Territories, which would include a little bit of the Brawn Territories. I would say Willow as well. It's probably the best town in the
That's what
entire
everybody
North.
says about their towns.
Well, it is very true as well. But I personally think that we have done a very splendid job of making it a must-see attraction area. So if you are all agreed, I will continue on into the explanation of what exactly I have planned.
Might
So-
as well.
Before you do that, I'm gonna, Alex, can I roll a, if it's a, sense motive?
Sure, go ahead and roll a d20 and add on your detect motive to that, please.
Yes, sense motive.
I would like to add on some background music, so I'm going to roll a perform.
You roll a perform.
Perform.
And let me get music set up real fast here, because you'll
So I'm
need
just
to.
gonna diddle on the guitar while you talk. Okay, well, I'm gonna look it out.
Okay, let me see if I can get us right here.
Okay. So,
23.
there's no intention at it's 30, Alex.
A 30. All right.
And I rolled a 23, so I'm going to diddle the hell out of it.
So we'll play some nice flamenco music. Let's see. So you start playing in the background while the gentleman is being interrogated by Dak in the middle over his incentive and motive.
I'm having a highly intellectual conversation on
That is very true as well. So you gather from his tone and his posture that he is very serious. He is not lying. He has a very, very pure heart. He is also, unfortunately, very patriotic, which could lead to a bit of a strong will and possibly, let's just say, possible, well, strong-willed results, let's just say. It may result in your possible, it could lead into a very bad situation because he is very strong-willed in general. But you do discern that he is extremely truthful and he means well.
Okay.
Any other checks you guys would like to do while the music plays wonderfully in the background? In fact, some of the patrons have suddenly started to turn and look at the person playing wonderfully on the guitar, and
Show off.
have begun to finger their pouches a little bit.
I hold my, I open my case next to me.
So you open the case, and all of a sudden, a couple people come by, and they pop a coin in there or two, and you receive 5 silver coins by playing a little bit of music for your little group.
Hey.
I was gonna have money, I guess.
Are you coming over? Oh, okay.
So yes, any other people who want to do checks or anything else out of character?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
I cannot find where I put the money in my...
Money is on the bottom, I believe. Yes, Dak.
Alex, where's the music playing, or are you just saying that it's playing?
Careful, you're reverbing. It's on TeamSpeak. You'll need to mute yourself on TeamSpeak, but you can hear the music through the admin if you have the admin turned on.
I do. Okay. Alright, I'm sorry, I didn't know where it was. Okay.
That's okay. Just letting you know. So yeah, if you guys want to, if you ever need to listen to the music, that's always on the TeamSpeak. So mute yourself in the TeamSpeaks, but let yourself hear what else is being played on there, and that'll always be the music.
I need to turn up the heat in my house.
Okay. I wish I could turn down the heat in my house. It's hot here. Good grief.
There's like 80 here.
It's like 90 here in Arizona.
It is.
So bad. Okay, so as soon as he comes back, we will explain the mission to you all.
It dropped to like 25 today, so...
I wish it was 25 here.
It's 68 degrees right now.
Yeah, and that's the coolest it's probably gonna get all night.
Yep.
Wonderbar! Alright, let me get into character before we begin this long monologue about what this is all about.
Oh boy, I
Alright. And this will end our session after we're done explaining this all, and I will tell you guys what your next moves are, and then we will end. So, this will be the last little bit for us tonight.
Okay.
So, the gentleman appears to take out some notes or something. He's actually written down some stuff that he wanted to be able to let you know about, because being old, he has short-term memory loss problems. Like, he doesn't even remember your guys' names anymore, and that's, because I can't remember your guys' names anymore.
Story of my life.
Exactly. So, you all, I'm certain that most of you, except for you, young rogue over here to the right, I'm certain that all of you understand and have heard about the fall of Carolina and the unification that was originally a very long time ago established by my grandfathers and his grandfather, and the ultimate demise that it met when the prince and princess were assassinated on their wedding night of all nights. At that time, 25 years ago, almost to this day, in fact, a week from now, is the anniversary, 25th anniversary of that day. I was actually at the castle when it happened. And this is very both troubling and unannounced information I'm about to pass on to you three. So prepare yourselves for a bit of a shock. But the prince and princess were not actually assassinated.
Well?
They were actually abducted and stolen from the kingdom. They currently reside in a small little town, or at least I believe they are, because that's what I've been told. But basically, a couple of forces decided to interfere. Not to actually stop the wedding, but to prevent the murder that was going to take place at the wedding. You see, ultimately, all of the noble people who were accompanying the two families that were getting married, which at that time it was technically what is now known as the Tiliski section of the world and the Willow section of the world. So the far east and the far west of the Carolina Empire were getting married to help further strengthen the bonds between them, because that was what was happening back then, is that they had clashes and there was brewing of a civil war. Well, what we heard, and this is because I was actually at one time, I probably shouldn't mention this, 25 years ago, I had a different title. I was not a diplomat, I was not a governor, I was not even technically part of the government in any aspect. I was actually part of the army. I was part of the army in what was known then as the Corps. And the Corps was a unification security project initiated by both the Willow and the other three regions, the Pills, the Curries, and the Tunkeys, to protect against outsiders coming into our land to disrupt and cause disarray, to cause civil war. Our job was to stop any and all activity that would happen that could possibly lead to that kind of a result. I was actually the head director of Corps. My job was to prevent any enemy infiltrations, take them down at once, and remove any and all threats. I have killed many, many people in my time. I have assassinated many people, and my orders have assassinated many people in my time. But my one mistake was not understanding how much power was involved behind the attempted assassination of the prince and princess. You all know about the story how the prince and princess were supposedly murdered on their wedding day in the capital of Carolina, which therefore led to the civil war that we now know as the diversion of the Unified, which happened about 25 years ago and ravaged for about 5 years afterwards, resulting in what you see now in our world. But what you don't know is that we actually prevented it. And that's the scary part. We actually prevented it, and it still happened. That's what was scary the most. We knew about the attempted assassination months before it began. Months before we even saw traces of it possibly happening or beginning to happen. We had spies in the north and spies in the south that reported of two different groups that were attempting to intercept and disarray the proposed marriage. He takes a break and pauses for a second because it's a little hard on his memory to remember all that happened. He takes a look at his notes real fast. Yeah, that's right. That's not guitar music. Sorry. Anywho, it came to our knowledge that there was going to be an assassination attempt. And we wanted to be able to stop it. But none of us quite knew how, because we didn't know exactly who was behind it all. We suspected that the city of Skyline, up in the Braun territory, had some defectors from our nation that wanted to destroy and disrupt our union. We also had information that Gale possibly was involved, and then there was also possibility that the ununified cities of nations of Serb and Slurv had more people involved, because, of course, they had just recently dissolved their own personalized union, and they didn't like the fact that we still had ours. Quite selfish of them, I might add. It was very selfish. But we knew about it before it was even beginning. The problem was in my judgment on how powerful and how far along these people had gotten. About a month before the wedding, about a month after we knew about the problems that were happening, we actually saw our first spy. We were able to capture our first spy that was in the city of Carolina, and he didn't tell us much. He actually died in our prison cell, which is actually in the city of, which city was that again? That was, Frey, I believe. Yeah, to the south. Frey is where we kept our secret services section of the city. And, we interrogated him there, and I remember personally interrogating him. That was very bloody. I will admit that much. That was not my best interrogation. I will admit that much. We may have had some incidences afterwards that led me to believe that they knew about us knowing about their plans. They knew. Their counterintelligence was working just fine, and on the night of the wedding, we made a very vital mistake. Somehow or another, it came to my attention the day before the wedding, 24 hours before the wedding, that our messengers had all been killed on the duty. All of them. Every single one of our messenger boys, as we like to call them, had been killed. Now, our messenger boys are very highly skilled at stealth, very highly skilled at delivering packages, and also death threats, also even death blows to our assigned targets. One of those messengers, which we didn't know about until that day, was supposed to have delivered a message to the king, to the commander of Carolina, alerting him to the fact that there was an attempted assassination happening that night. We did not know about it because he had a couple different assignments he was supposed to do afterwards, and we had suspected that he had just been running late. It was my fault for not discerning that he had been destroyed or captured or assassinated or whatever happened to him, the poor fool, beforehand. And 24 hours before we begin what would have been our best espionage attempt at counter-espionage, we learned that our only means of actually alerting anyone in high-ranking government officials to alert them that there was something happening was now gone. So we were now looking at a very bad situation in which the only people who really needed to know about the assassination didn't know a thing about the assassination. And that was all my fault. So, we went rogue. We actually defected from Carolina, partly out of shame, partly because of the fact that we weren't going to be able to stop the wedding. We weren't going to be able to effectively counter the murder or the assassination attempt. And we knew that our forces were heavily outnumbered since all of our messengers were killed overnight. And we knew that because all of their name tags were put on our doorsteps that morning. All of them. It was a big blow to our group. We didn't quite know how to react to it, so we did the only thing possible. We defected. We literally took it upon ourselves to beat the bad guys to the punch. So we kidnapped the prince and princess that night. We took them to a remote town outside of the capital, and after alerting whoever would listen to the information we had, we were able to save their lives, but not the lives of Carolina, or her citizens, or her nation. News spread very quickly that 2 bodies were found in the prince and princess's rooms, with their blood all over them. It was announced that the prince and princess had been murdered shortly afterwards, and all of our efforts went to naught, even though we literally had the prince and princess in our hands. They were still dead to the public. None of the officials knew. None of them had been alerted to the fact that there was supposed to be a murder attempt. Everybody believed it. Even the doctors who worked on the murdered bodies believed it. It was very hard to understand why they believed it, but I think I know why now. 2 months after the murder of the prince and princess, civil war broke out across the land. All of the central part of what was at that time Carolina's empire revolted. On the same day, almost at the same time. Armies marched in different directions, and the 5-year conflict that would have been endless started. Now, what we didn't know at that time was that there were already forces in the capital of Carolina working to repair and possibly realign the entire nation. What the public don't know is that the entire world is under one banner right now. There actually is an empire at work right now. No one knows what it's called, and no one knows what it's doing. But I have indisputable proof that there is actually a single group behind the scenes of every single diplomat, every single city, every single capital, every single nation that controls it all from behind the scenes. They have done a very excellent job, and that was why they were able to counter us, because they're actually better than we are. And that's what I'd like to put down. We have information from our most recent espionage that alerts us that the ruins of Carolina is actually a decoy. After the 5 years of war, the Carolina capital was officially considered to be a ruins. It's not a ruin. It's a big, gigantic decoy to keep people out. What's really happening in Carolina is that the controlling group is actually residing in the old original ruins. They've made home here. In what was once the greatest unified nation in our continent's history, they are now officially running the nation from the ruins of Carolina, and they are threatening to destroy all of civilization, is what we heard. We had scouts interview some of the populace who still live in the ruins of Carolina, and they said they have seen activity coming from the capital, from the castle itself, which is supposedly deserted at this point. But they said they've seen stuff happening there. Now, we do know that on occasion, the leading diplomats from every single nation around this entire globe will all travel to Carolina under the pretext that they're going to visit a neighboring country, such as Parma going to go visit Pill, or the Zerks going to go visit the Slurves on a weird case. They all, instead, they come here. They come here to Carolina. For what reason, we don't know. But we do understand one thing. This controlling group, this weird background thing that's happening, it's all being controlled from Carolina. And we have to get rid of it because of one thing. We were able to capture one of the diplomats going home back to Parma about a month ago. We were able to interrogate this diplomat, and he spilled the beans on a grand scheme that would unite the entire globe underneath of one banner, officially, out in the open, in the public. It would unite everyone together, but it would also, at the same time, allow for an elite professional group, as he put it, to selectively destroy or keep certain parts of the entire planet that they saw fit. Basically, it was going to be total unification, but also a possibility of total destruction of the entire world as we know it. We want to stop that. And the reason why is because we know a little bit more about what they've told us. The diplomat stated that he knew that the unification would lead to the destruction of the bronze cities to the north and a couple cities to the south down in the Victon area. He stated that they were looking to wipe out any half species. They were also looking to wipe out any possible groups or factions that would rise up in power and have the possibility to dethrone this group. They mentioned officially, he mentioned in his talkings of a ageless species. He said that would rebirth or something. Like, they wanted to target those people, and they also wanted to target the strongest of the peoples of the world, to either subjugate them or to control them. So my guess is, now that I know of you, Mr. Akron, I can only surmise they went you. And unfortunately, because of some of the information that I can't explain to you at the moment, because it's actually not fully developed yet, we are still working on some parts of the information, and that's why we want to do this mission on the anniversary and not tonight, is that there are still some pieces of information that we don't understand. People have said they've seen interesting sights, like lights above the Capitol, and weird symbols on walls, and weird happenstances. Even one of them reported seeing a monster of grotesque figure on the castle walls roaming one night. We do believe, however, and we know this to be true, there is definitely a group working in Carolina. They definitely have a plan, and I'd like to stop it, because this is the same group that took down what I originally had as a home and a unified nation. My job was to protect it, and at this point, I have failed my job. I have failed to protect my own people, my own nation, and I would like to get the chance to redeem it. I have plenty of money to aid you in this conquest. I can explain the plan to you if you'd like me to, but be certain and be aware that anything and everything that you need that could aid you in this battle, in this fight against this group, I can more than certainly provide for you. Our plan is this. We do know of 3 things that's happening in the city and in this capital's castle. We know that this group has actually put all of their funds in the castle. The castle vaults are still full. Completely full. Ever since Carolina was made, it's always been the richest nation in the world. And that's why I think it was taken down, because they needed the influence of the other nations in regards to both politics and in money to be able to take them all down. So the vaults are still full. We would like to empty, or at least maybe clean house on the vaults. If you know what I mean, Mr. I think you know what I mean, Mr. McCracken. I believe you understand what cleaning house would refer to. We'd also would like to rescue or destroy the diplomats that are due to arrive on the anniversary date. All of the diplomats, by our source, are said to be coming back here for the anniversary. There was supposed to be some event that will be taking place. They've all been summoned to come back here in about a week to 2 weeks' time. The anniversary is officially in 3 weeks' time. They were told to come back here and to await their summonings. So we know that the group that's working has plans for the anniversary date. We want to be able to, again, rescue or destroy the diplomats that we can get, and to either restore them back to their nations without any kind of backworking. We want to free them from this group, or we want to destroy them and set up new leaders who will not be under the control of this group. The third thing we'd like to do is we'd like to destroy the group personally. We believe that the lower levels of the castle that we originally used as our means of both torturing and also for intelligence are now officially being used by this group. We believe they are, because a couple of our secret passageways have been locked, and we unlocked them when we left to allow us entrance back in. They've all been blocked, both by A, magical auras, and 2, actual bolts and hard wooding. They've all been reinforced and reestablished. So we believe this group is working inside of our old base of operations. And we think if we get a highly skilled group, we can take them all down. And that's pretty much what we have so far. I already have the local militias from both Krone and also from the capital, New Turn. We are expecting the town of Zichi and Bruin and also Bemoski to join us. We have already sent diplomats to Frey, Clerk, and also technically we also went to Yart as well. And we are awaiting their replies. I should get those in about 2 days. If we get all of them to join us, we would have an army of about 1,000 militia people to be able to aid you in this fight. Now, this is going up against a castle that could possibly be very well fortified. If the report was true that there are monsters on the walls and other forces that work here, we may be facing an actual army against us. So we're preparing an army for you to help you on your fight. But none of our soldiers can take down this group if they're as powerful as we think they are. Because here's the kicker.
This is a really horrible project.
They established all of their dominance in about 2 weeks' time. After the destruction of Carolina, after the supposed murder of the prince and princess, order had already been reestablished. The diplomats knew who they were working for 2 weeks after it happened. The war continued. The civil war still happened because they wanted it to. But the diplomats all knew who they were working for. So we'd like to know who they're working for at this point. We would like to know a little bit about who it is that's controlling our entire world without us knowing it. Any questions?
Well, my good sir, I think after that quite detailed explanation, I would of course like some assurances as to your, I guess, knowledge of these events. I mean, how do I know for certain that you are actually telling, shall we say, the truth?
My past experience as an intelligence officer and as the official intelligence officer for Carolina speaks wonders to most people, but I understand that some people such as yourselves who have never heard of it because it was a secret organization would have questions. You may look at these notes, and he actually hands you guys these papers that I was holding earlier. These notes contain all of the information from our spies and assets from different diplomatic from different diplomatic places, detailing all the information we've gotten from both our spies and from people we've managed to interrogate. And you can see all the information that I stated has been listed on these pages. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know in regards to what group this is, and that's why we're sending you in, because we believe that a small task force would be much better than a large army in trying to defeat a force that we want to be able to either take back alive or destroy completely. We do believe that, unfortunately, this group is very powerful. We don't have a lot of information regarding the ultimate elite group that you'll be facing off against, but we do know a lot about what they're working with, and who they're working with, and why they're working. The ultimate end answer is, what's their ultimate goal? And we don't know that yet. And that's what scares us. Because technically, they established dominance and control over this entire country in 2 weeks' time after the collapse of Carolina. I can't imagine what they've been able to get and accomplish in the 25 years that's happened since then. And of course, all the notes he hands you guys have legit information about what I've told you so far, so you don't have to doubt that.
Stamps and seals and different
Yep.
handwriting.
Well, even some coding on some of it too.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot to digest. I'm sorry for unloading an entire meal full upon you all. But, oh, you finished your solo a long time ago when you started talking, my friend. You were all ears. You were all ears. But, if you would like a day to think about it. However, unfortunately, now that you have heard about it, I must let you know one thing. Every single person in this room is one of my agents. Even the bartender is. If you so much as go out there and start spilling beans to someone, or trying to get away with knowledge and selling it off to someone else, we will find you. And we have a very excellent skill set. And we know how to use it well. We are, of course, the original Secret Service for Carolina. We know how to pick our men well. and we've picked you. Or at least technically you've picked us. And let's just say, well, I think one of you knows what it means to be wealthy. One of you knows what it means to be both old and also very well knowledgeable. And one of you knows how to disappear as well. But that's okay.
Completely disappear.
Completely disappear from the face of the earth. But let's just say...
I have one critique.
Yes.
Your messengers were wearing name tags. Not a good idea.
Well, that is so that way, in the event that they die, we know that they died.
So they were dog tags.
They were dog tags. They are most definitely not name tags you find from your local Staples nearby, okay? We don't have name tags. Ryan, Secret Service. No. More like, well, actually, that's a good question. And this is actually gets a little bit gruesome. This is why it scared us. Because technically, all of our dog tags are ingrained into the arms of our Secret Service members. Inputted into the arms. Which means that the members that brought us those dog tags had cut off and cut out the dog tags from our Secret Service members. That's why that scared us the most. Because they weren't just killing our members, they were targeting our members and then bragging about it to us in our face. And that's what scared us the most in regards to that. So, yes, in regards to the question of the name tags / dog tags, that is what was scary about that. Hello, Paul. Hi. So, as I was saying, we do know a lot of information about you gentlemen. Even though it's only been about a week since you accepted the invitation to arrive here, we have already enough information to understand where you come from and who you are. I was just testing you all. So, if you want proof that I'm serious, you most definitely can be certain I am serious about this.
I'm down.
Excellent.
I accept.
All right.
I accept your proposal, I could say.
You seem either foolish or very, very wise and heroic. We will find out which that is. Now, to begin with, I will tell you all what you will receive. There is a local blacksmith in the area, part of our team. He can make you all specialized weapons that are unique and, dare I say, masterworks, almost. We'll give you free range of whatever you would like to take with you. He can tell you what he can make, and he can make it for you in about 3 days' time. We also can supply you with whatever armor or accessories you need personally, and this is all free of charge from us. Your salary that you will take with you if you so choose to leave us on early notice will be approximately 3,000 gold pieces. That is quite a lot for your services. Now, that is only if you choose to leave us early. And that is unfortunately also with us sending service people after you to possibly keep you in check. So that 3,000 gold is more likely than not going to be our way of keeping your mouth shut. Otherwise, my ultimate price tag on your services will be 5% of the vaults in Carolina. Again, these are the national vaults. They are very, very full. We believe that pretty much all of the wealth from all the nations has been accumulated here. And 5% of that could, well, let's just say you wouldn't have to work another day. And let's just put it at that.
Money is not of any concern for me, but I suppose it could be used as an incentive for my two acquaintances here.
That is why we also have the other agenda, which is the ability to stop a rogue force that is controlling the entire universe as we know it from behind the scenes. Injustice has definitely been spread by this group. They mean us much harm, or at least that's what our spies would believe us. And I believe my spies. My spies are correct on this. I do believe that they mean to control the world and destroy parts of it at the same time. And I would like to stop them. And that that, my friends, is our call to you. That is what we would like you all to accept. So if you accept this, if you would like to go in on this mission, you may talk with our our other members in regards to your weapons and other types of materials. I would like to let you all go back to your daily routines. You will need to check in every single day until we meet our final day where we will actually do our business. Because I don't want to have any of you running off in the middle of this all after you get all of your stuff. And in 3 weeks' time, we'll meet here for the last time and do our jobs, and then go our separate ways, hopefully. And if not, we will meet the rest of you wherever our end result may be in our afterlives. But if you're in for this, please let me know. I see I have 2 people in already. And what about you, my good Wingle sir? Are you in?
Yeah, sure, why not?
I see my money objective has swayed you. Also because you kind of have to, otherwise I'm not doing this good enough. So thank you. But yes, very good. You may speak with our blacksmith and also our armor keeper in your spare time, and garnish all of your equipment that you need for the deal. In 3 weeks' time, I anticipate you all to be in this exact same spot, and we will go over our battle plan. Yes, Strays.
Is blacksmith's going to need coin for
No,
his service?
like I mentioned earlier, all of the stuff that you will get from us is free of charge. All of it can be yours for just doing the job. So as long as you're in on the job, I can give you whatever you need. Because trust me...
0 to 50%.
Because trust me, you're going to need it. Badly.
Like with my hands.
Aha, yeah. Maybe you should get golden gloves then. Smack the face. Yeah.
I don't know how good golden gloves are going to be, since they're not exactly very flexible.
Epic golden
Just have
gloves.
my hands like
Epic gauntlets.
I got gold gloves, guys! I can slap people around!
I have epic gauntlets. I can punch people with metal fists. Come on.
Alright, so, he takes his leave of you guys, and that is going to be the end of our session. It has been about 3 hours, or 2 hours for some of you guys at this point. It is getting semi-late for some of us, and I know some of us have other things to do tomorrow, but do you guys have any questions at all? I will be working with you guys over this week to be able to get your guys' weapons set up and all that kind of stuff. That will end our session, though, for tonight.
I'm pretty sure he's crazy.
I'm sorry?
I'm pretty sure that old guy's just crazy.
Oh, he could be. I don't know.
I think he's an old washed up.
Crazy in which way, though?
He's an old washed up security guard, and he's seeing things and trying to relive the glory days. But hey,
ouch!
It's pain.
Making me feel bad now. Man.
That's just what Kevin thinks. But if he's paying,
Yeah.
I'll go around and chase the ghosts of his past for him.
All right. I like the way you're thinking, though. This definitely is a nice way to go about that. Do you guys have any anything you would like to ask in regards to the weapons or anything at all?
Yeah, I suppose for me, Alex, I don't know if it will just be. I probably won't be getting. I'm thinking I'm going to try and do this without any specific weapons, but I don't know if I can do that once I'm like level 1. But at least at level 15, I think I can do it without any weapons. So
yeah, most likely you probably could.
So I think that I might do it like, I don't know, some type of really fine, I don't know, maybe clothing or something, or kind of trinkets or something.
Yep.
Like that boost certain stats or something like that. I don't know.
Yes. My assumption would be that you would just take armor instead. So you would just either do like leather wrist straps or something that's really fine quality, but not going to limit you for your dexterity or anything like that. And that would be what you would take for this case. And that would be just fine.
Sit and still, because you're obviously going to have to burn it to the ground.
Well, thank you. Yes.
That is very true. It is very true. Otherwise, that is the end of this session. So, the last place we leave you guys is at the city of Kron. 3 weeks out from your mission, which is to ultimately, basically, ransack the castle of the castle in the ruins of Carolina, and figure out what forces are opposing your characters at this point. A lot of you guys have sub stories and sub things that you guys are looking at accomplishing, and we will get to those eventually. But that is where we will leave you all off tonight. Yeah, and that's pretty much where we will be ending the action, at least for tonight at this point. I'd like to thank the 2 people who followed on the stream for tonight. That's very nice. Glad that we were able to entertain at least 2 people. Even though this is all kind of hastily put down and put up, and we don't quite know what we're doing, but we're gonna have some fun. We'll have fun while we're doing it, and we will try to entertain as many people as possible in the making of it all. That will be the end of the stream, though, for tonight, and I'll keep you guys up here for a couple more minutes, and we'll talk about some stuff behind the scenes that they don't need to hear about, because they don't want to hear about all the stuff that we have to work on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the spoilers like that. But anyway,
Spoilers.
thank you so much for watching. I am out for the night, and I'll be probably streaming tomorrow with more stuff if I can. I have to help the parents out, technically, so we'll see how that goes. But otherwise, that is the end of the stream, and thank you so much for watching.
Goodbye.
Bye.